This should be a quick and easy to understand lesson on how to play the traditional classical guitar piece Romanza. Romanza itself provides a great introduction to fingerstyle guitar playing across all genres. I'm going to show you how to play the piece itself, and I'll provide tablature and diagrams where they're helpful, and I'm also going to give you technique tips. At the end of the video I'll give you one extra technique tip that you can use to embellish the sound of this piece and all others that you play afterwards. The first thing that you need to get used to play Romanza is that the thumb of the right hand, or your picking hand, is going to control the 3 bass strings and play between them using a downstroke. The first finger is going to control the 3rd string, which is your G. The second finger is going to control the 2nd string, which is your B, and the 3rd finger is going to control the 1st string, which is your top E string. Your right arm should be resting on the body of the guitar. This guitar doesn't happen to have much of a body. I'm sure your body will be much more hospitable. And you can play this on any guitar, by the way. You can play it on electrics, you can play it on steel-strung acoustics, you can play it on classicals. Traditionally it's a classical piece. But either way, your arm should be resting on the top of the body, hanging over loosely. Your wrist should be quite high up off the guitar, not down like this that you'll often see folk players playing like. You need freedom of movement of your fingers, so you're hanging over the guitar, and your resting position will be with the thumb ready to play those bass strings, and each of these fingers in their starting position just resting on the respective strings. Romanza is in 3/4. Your first task is to practice that pick, counting it like this: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... Notice that the bass note comes in on every count of 1. So when you're counting 1, your thumb is pinching with your 3rd finger, so those 2 notes are produced simultaneously like this. That means that you can actually count it like this: thumb and a 2 and a 3 and a thumb and a 2 and a 3 and a... You see what I did there? So I suggest that you practice that actual pick with or without the bass note. The bass note can always be added later. When you feel comfortable with it, let's go on and learn the left hand. To start off with, you're going to have your little finger at the 7th fret on the 1st string. Your thumb should be around the back of the neck, with your other fingers ready to stretch back so that the 2nd finger can play the 5th fret and your 1st finger can play the 3rd fret. It'll sound like this. Seven, 7, 7, 7, 5, 3. Next section, your 1st finger will still be at the 3rd fret. You play 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, open, 3rd fret. That's with your 1st finger, and you stretch with your little finger. Your 1st finger comes off and you play the 7th fret. That'll sound like this. Next section, your little finger goes up to the 12th fret. You play 12, 12, 12, 12, 10, 8. And again, you're starting with the little finger at the 12th. You're going to stretch back to the 2nd finger at the 10th and stretch back to your 1st finger at the 8th. It's important to use the right fingering, so it'll make the whole piece a lot more fluent than jumping about with 1 finger. Sounds like this. This is what we've got so far. This is where things start to get just a little bit more complicated, because the 1st finger's got to play a half bar at the 5th fret. That means you are holding down all 3 strings, the 1st, the 2nd and the 3rd, at the 5th fret, pinching them with the thumb behind the neck. Hold them down while the little finger's going to play the 8th fret, 3rd finger's going to play the 7th, and you're going to go off, so you're playing all 5th fret, back onto the 7th, back onto the 8th. It'll sound like this. At the same time, the bass note has now come down to the 5th string. So that's 8, 7, 5, 5, 7, 8. So Now we come to the most difficult piece of the first section. It causes students infinitely more trauma than the rest of the piece, but you will get it. The reason it's difficult is we're going to be coming from this half bar section where the bass note is on the 5th string, and you have to jump to a full bar. That's your first finger across all 6 strings at the 7th fret, and your second finger has to get in to play the 8th fret on the 3rd string. Then the notes that you're playing on the top string are going to be 7, 8, 7, 11, so that's going to cause a stretch, 8, 7, so you'll end up with this. Bass note goes back to the 6th string. So you've got, it's going to be worth looping that half bar section with this full bar section so that you get something like this. And practicing that for days. You will get it. If you have trouble holding the strings down, make sure your guitar's got a decent action, because if your guitar hasn't got a decent action, that means if the strings are too high off the fingerboard, it's going to be even more trauma. The good news is the next section is back to easy street. You now just play essentially what you played at the beginning. You're going to be going 7, 5, 3, 3, 2, 0. Then we end up with a fairly easy final section. It just involves one kind of chord shape where your first finger is playing the 2nd fret on the 5th string, second finger is playing the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and third finger is playing the 2nd fret on the 1st string. Bass note is now the 5th string. It's 3 times before the bass note, the first finger note, moves to the 1st fret on the D string on the 4th string. These 2 fingers stay where they are. So you've got 3 here. First finger moves to the 4th string. Add your little finger on the 1st string to the 3rd fret. Take it off again. And then you're playing a bass note with every beat. First of all, 2nd fret on the 4th string. These 3 strings are now open. 2nd fret, 5th string. 3rd fret with 3rd finger on the 6th string. And then you finish with 2 outer strings open. I promised you a piece of advice at the end of this video that would help embellish the sound of Romanza and other classical style pieces or fingerstyle pieces that you may play. That piece of advice concerns your picking hand. Romanza, like so many classical pieces played on guitar, is actually composed of 2 parts. It's composed of the melody part and the accompaniment or the harmony. The melody part needs to stand out, and the way you make it stand out is by the way you pluck the string. A rest stroke is where the finger plucks the string and comes to a rest on the next string. They produce louder notes. A free stroke is where the finger plucks the string and comes away from the guitar, avoiding touching any other string. They produce quieter notes. Careful use of both types of stroke can be used to bring out the melody of a piece of music. So that's it. That's the whole first section of Romanza. There is a second section which I can do as a part 2. A lot of people just play the first section, but if you've got this far, you can definitely get through the second section as well. Please leave any comments in the comments below. Hop on over to the full recording of Romanza that I've got. I'll leave a link in the description, maybe at the end of the video. And yeah, if you can subscribe, that would be handy. It helps the channel. And yeah, enjoy. I've been playing this piece for 40 years or so, and I still pick up the guitar and play it every now and again, just for fun. It's a lovely piece. Lots of people enjoy it. So you enjoy.